all take a bite of my purple rock. Can we stop? Are you ready?
One of the traits I most admire about Prince's work is his ability to traverse so many different musical styles, from pop to funk, jazz to blues, house to R&B, and in this video, rock. Prince is often thought of as a pop artist, and yet as these guitar-driven tracks demonstrate, he could make his guitar shred, wail and growl with unparalleled feeling until the instrument was simply an emotional extension of his being. Let's give a brief shout out to some of the best Prince rock tracks. Blazing guitar, social comment, and Prince showing that he can do more in 1 minute 48 seconds than anyone. Lost my job at Mickey D's for giving away too much food for free, but I couldn't watch another black child go to school with nothing to eat. 7 of us then took to the streets, raised by the music, fed by the beat. Seeing how long we could stay out of jail is that's how we'd compete. This Third Eye Girl track from the album Plectrum Electrum was one the crowd at the Shepherd's Bush Empire in London were just blown away by. The video is a retro, visually distorted trip that feels gritty and visceral. Donna and Prince duel with Hannah pounding the drums. The main riff is addictive, but so much more is going on in the background too to give this a really full sound. It's time to move to Mars. Another choice from Prince's Third Eye Girl era, but one with a rather strange history. Guitarist Donna was brought into the group after being discovered online by Joshua Welton and his wife Hannah. Donna had created a track entitled Electra, which had been released by her own band called Donna Granta's Electric Band. Prince clearly loved the composition and played around with the name and track, renaming it Plectrum Electrum. It is unusual for Prince to make an instrumental track the title song, but it works so well as a defining piece for what Third Eye Girl were all about. Dueling guitars, yet synchronicity, a deep bassy drive with full rock sound that pays homage to many previous artists. Prince would often incorporate the track into the middle of other tracks, including Let's Go Crazy. The way the track establishes the riff, explores away from its central premise, and then returns to it is an absolute joy. An absolute guitar-wailing, drum-pounding social protest song from the Lotus Flower Project, which is one of Prince's very, very best. A stunning performance on the Jay Leno show was mesmerising. I was born, raised on the same plantation, in the United States of the red, white and blue. Never knew that I was different till Dr. King was on a balcony, lying in a bloody pool. Prince sings that he expected so much more from a loving society, and then laments, 21st century, oh what a shame, race still matters. The track clearly has shades of Hendrix, and the main riff is very reminiscent of the 60s, 70s. The fire, the fury, the power of Prince making such a spirited protest, the emotive surge of Prince's guitar almost trying to set itself free, all interweaves into this amazing and poignant track. I've chosen the reloaded version here as I have such great memories of Prince and the Third Eye Girl performing this reworked version of such a classic track. Prince reimagined a number of tracks during this period, including I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man and Something in the Water Does Not Compute. It is strange to hear such a familiar track slowed down so significantly, almost growling and luxuriating and revelling in its delivery. The chorus of guitars are much more front and centre, and there was a lot of great background flexes and noodles. And it is loud. Third Eye Girl always blew the roof off concerts, and it's not hard to see why. A great middle section takes the track in a different direction when Prince would often interpolate Plectrum Electrum and return to the Let's Go Crazy for the iconic, blazing, career-defining guitar roller coaster of the remarkable closing solo denouement. Not sadly enough to win round the Rolling Stones crowd, but this is an early rock classic from Prince that he played throughout his career on various tours, notably the Nude Tour and later Hit and Run tours. Prince pleads in his high-pitched falsetto for attention from the subject of his adoration. I knew from the start that I loved you with all my heart. but you were untrue. You had another lover, and she looked just like you. Taken from Prince's second self-titled album, this is pure rock, and performed live is a real chance for Prince to take the guitar to places most can only dream of. Prince's vocal is pushed to the limit, competing and dueling with the guitars, his voice racing to rise up on the wave of the mix of high-noted screaming guitar and lower rumbling earthy riffs. The main riff is pure ear candy, and once heard is not forgotten. All your lovers, they look just like you, but they can only do the things that you do. Come on baby, take me by the hand. I'm going to show you what it's like to be loved by a man. The guitar work starting at 3 minutes 20 is exemplary, and even at this controversial point in his career, no one could overlook the talent of this piece. Not necessarily an obvious choice, but after the classic Saturday Night Live performance, it is hard to resist. Prince put together a new band formation for the live TV performance, and the track has a stop-start staccato guitar thrust, which just jolts the song along and adds almost a form of additional drum beat. If a man is considered guilty for what goes on in his mind, then give me the electric chair for all my future crimes. As with all great Prince tracks, the song almost becomes too much for itself, and Prince builds the track until the screaming vocals become more and more desperate. Around 3 minutes, his voice is utterly pushed to the limit, pleading, screaming, whilst the guitars flex menacingly. Remixed by Mark Moore a little later, it's the kind of track you feel thudding in your chest. Habibi, one of Prince's most iconic looking guitars, is a track that often gets overlooked, as it was initially released as part of the NPG Music Club downloads. The track is based on the Jimi Hendrix track Machine Gun, and the original version was quickly replaced, removing some of the Hendrix lyrics and themes. Prince adds a number of improvised elements and embellishments, and reached out to the Hendrix estate, offering a version of the track for them to use freely for whatever purpose they deemed appropriate. Prince is pure channeling Hendrix here, with a nod to the Undertaker project also thrown in. It is the type of track that anyone who isn't convinced of Prince's rock guitar talents needs to hear. Largely instrumental, purely rock fire, Prince's guitar is worked to within an inch of its life. It is impossible not to make the guitar face with this one. Taken from the huge Crystal Ball project, this track begins somewhat lighter than you would expect for a rock track, but then just explodes with a propelled, percussion-assisted, rocket-fueled pyrotechnic. Prince is the proverbial puppet on a string in love, and the use of breakdowns, taking the song right back to its very bare bones before determinedly building up the track back up again, is pure excess. At around 2 minutes 45 it all kicks off, and Prince produces one of his longest, most sustained screams, whilst everything in the world is going off around him in a cataclysm of sound and drive. From the very first album, Prince was determined to prove he could do it all, and despite the overall sound of the first album being very considered, technically perfect, and very different to this track, Prince ended the album with this early classic, which he very occasionally resurrected later in his career. Prince's light falsetto vocals here are almost buried under the weight of the multitude of guitar grooves, solos, and rolling crescendoing drums. Prince uses this track as a demonstration of his enormous range of potential at such a truly young age. Prince even notes his inexperience. "Never have I ever made love before, never have I wanted to till now. Lover, can't you see I want you more and more? Take me baby, yeah, I'm yours." The closing 2 minutes of the track are an absolute excuse, as if one were needed, for Prince to let his guitar off the leash and just revel in some free-flowing soloing, and the piercing display at around 4 minutes onwards very much gives you a small hint as to what was to come from this musical genius. Xana Lee combines Prince's wicked sense of humour with a flexing guitar-driven track. Taken from the rock-filled Chaos and Disorder project and appearing in the Undertaker film, Prince takes on the part of a police officer who is dispatched to a disturbance and manages to see more than he intended to see. Whilst competing against his backdrop, Prince sings of Xana Lee, who in various versions of the track drinks cherry wine, watches dirty movies and plays pool with Prince's character. Some people prefer a clean version of the track without the police scanner voiceover, whereas for some it adds to the humour of the piece. The police officers arrive and Prince, narrating both voices, has his eyes opened. Prince then adds a somewhat more meaningful closing verse. Well, if you want a headline, you gotta be all you can be, 'cause you got a strong act to follow, and her name is Xana Lee. Prince then closes the track with a door opening and Maite leaving. Prince teases, see you tomorrow. Big ass. Who said romance was dead? This was such an interesting time for Prince. He announced his retirement, released a hits collection, and added Peach, Pope, and Pink Cashmere to his vast back catalogue. As is often the case, Prince actually feels very out of his depth trying to get the attention of a woman he desires. Here she comes again. She's got them gold hot pants on again. Yeah, man, I want to talk, but I don't know. She's a peach. She was young, she was smart, just one glance and she stole my heart. The kind of girl you want to teach. She's a peach. Prince actually sampled a moan by Kim Basinger from the Scandalous Sex Suite as a loop propelling the track. I love the part at 2 minutes 15 where the guitar tracks across both speakers. The guitar work incorporates a guttural solo at 2 minutes 50, which hits the highs and lows of the guitar range. I would die if I kissed her. I would try, but I'm last on her list. She's so cool, and I'm so ugly. I'd be a fool to think that she could love me. This kind of girl's always out of reach. She's a peach. Prince would often extend this jam live, often slowing it down or using it to let loose with the guitar. One last point. Right at this time, when Prince announced his retirement to the world to work on alternative media projects, is there a small clue at the end of this track? When he seems to say, I'll be back, was he leaving a clue for the purple people?